hot too, Frankie. You're gonna drink the well dry. Yes, you are.
Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's sewing edition of the Wellness Homesteader. I get a lot of requests for sewing videos, and I think it's a select few, but as promised, I want to make myself an egg apron. So I found a free printable online that I will share in the description box below, the link to the pattern. Now, this is copyrighted by Swoon, S-W-O-O-N, Sewing Patterns. However, it says feel free to sell your items made with this pattern, copyright 2018. So this is not my original pattern in any way, shape, or form. So my printer kind of had a little fit, so ignore the lines. Oh boy, it does look bad, doesn't it? So here's the apron. As you see, it has a waistband, the main body fabric, and then all of these egg pockets, which is probably overkill for 4 chickens. But the pattern was free and I like it and it was doable for me. So first thing you're going to need to do is go to that website, which is www.swoonpatterns.com. Click on the gatherer, that's a weird word, egg apron, and then you can download for free this pattern. Now, it's kind of a different pattern. If you've never sewn from a free printable, what you end up getting, and I have done videos on this before, is a multi-page printout. You always want to select to 100%. Don't select fit to print or fit to page, because you want obviously a full-size pattern. For the adult size, there's an adult and a child. You will be printing pattern pieces, and it's only 4 pages of pattern pieces. And then, I'm gonna hold it up here, you tape them together, and this is actually half of the body of the apron. So just think of it, that half and this half. It does have a sizing of small, medium, or large. I went with medium, just looking at and holding it up. I think a medium is going to be a gracious plenty, please Lord. So I did think about a large though, because if you have on like bibs, or if it's cold out and you're wearing a coat, it might be a little bit harder to get it around the bulk, but the sash is nice and long, so I think we'll be okay. Sash is the same length for all 3 sizes. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need 2 fabrics and some interfacing, and of course your sewing machine, scissors, pins, all those normal things. You need a 1/2 yard of either quilting weight or home deck fabric, 1 1/4 yards of a basic contrasting fabric that's that same weight. You know, if you don't have your fabrics the same weight, your apron can hang funny. Then you need 2 1/2 yards ultra lightweight fusible interfacing. That is a lot of interfacing, y'all. I had purchased it, so I had it on hand. You definitely want to go with an ultralight, because that is what you will be cutting the most of. Then you simply follow the directions, and it will tell you right here on the printed pattern that you need 1 exterior, 1 contrasting. So think outside, inside, and then you need 2 of the ultra lightweight fusible interfacing. So what we're trying to do is stiffen up that fabric so we can then sew the panels. Now the panels and the waistband, it just gives you measurements. So it depends on your size, how long you will cut and how wide you will cut these panels. I will tell you, I had no problem cutting out within the yardage that they recommend. Sometimes free patterns aren't accurate, but this one was. Now, in the interest of time, y'all, I have really been trying to like zip it up a little bit, but still give you good content, right? Not just show you the same thing over and over and over. I've already cut everything out. Today, it is, if you notice me sweating, that's because I am. And do I perspire or sparkle or whatever the cute word is? No, I do not. I have always been a hot-blooded person, and in spite of having air conditioning and ceiling fans, I get hot very easily. It's much hotter upstairs than down. So just plan on seeing some sweating and just don't even worry about that. But in the interest of time, I'm going to take you up to the sewing room. I have already cut out the pieces. I will show you how I have them arranged so I can keep them straight in my head. And I've had so many requests, y'all, so many requests for me to show how to thread a sewing machine. So if you've never sewn before, you probably don't realize this. I've probably had maybe half a dozen sewing machines in my life, maybe not quite that many. Every single one of them is different in how you thread it. I am happy to show you how I thread mine. It's probably not going to be relevant to how you thread yours, how you wind the bobbin, how you pull up the bobbin thread. So your machine should have come with a manual. If it doesn't, you can Google manual for and insert your maker and model of your machine, and it should come up with a printable manual that will show you step by step how to thread your machine. But because it's been requested, I'm going to show that, and then we'll get busy sewing. So I'm trying to cool down here. Whoo, y'all, it's humid and it's hot. So I hope you all made it through the heat wave, because by the time you see this, it's supposed to cool down, please, Lord. Last night, which was Monday night, I want to tell you, it stormed terribly, terribly. I mean, high winds scared the girls half to death and kind of worried me too. And I was hoping they would just go in their nesting box or roosting box. No, they got under it. So, you know, they were fine, but there was a lot of balking going on last night. So I was worried about my girls and did not sleep well. Today was supposed to be 96. They're saying, yeah, might only get to 91 to 93, but it's very humid, so the heat index is going to be over 100. So it is a good day to stay inside. I don't do a lot of crafts and sewing in the summer because I'm usually busy canning and doing a variety of things outdoors. But with this extreme heat, I watered the garden even though it rained some last night, and I'll collect eggs, and I've taken care of the girls, and that's going to be the extent of my outside work today. So stay tuned. Let's head to the sewing room. So let me apologize in advance. My ceiling fan has a hum. I just can't tolerate it up here without the fan on. So don't want to have to turn the AC down. I'm trying to stick with 77, guys. During the day, 75 at night, so I can at least sleep. It's not too bad, but when it's as hot as it is this week, it just cranks, and I just can mentally see my electric meter rolling. So what I've done here is, as I said, I've cut everything out. So over here on my craft table, I have chosen this for my contrast. So this is how big the apron will be minus the seams. And of course we had to have chicken fabric, right? I chose this for the main fabric. So I have these two pieces, and that was the paper piece that I cut out. Over here I have what will become the egg pockets. So there's two of those because they go across in 2 rows. Over here, y'all don't judge my craft room. On the loom, I've cut out all of my lightweight fusible interfacing, and I think just to keep everything straight, this is how I do it. I think it just makes it easier rather than to pile it up. So this upside down. So as you see, you can see me through this. This is ultra lightweight fusible interfacing. Now, interfacing should come with instructions. So when it's wrapped up, your yardage is wrapped up, or on the back of the package, it usually has a strip that has all the instructions in multiple languages. The general rule of thumb is there's 2 sides to interfacing. I don't know if y'all can see that. Yeah, see how this is textured and this is smooth? The little dots are the adhesive, and you have to use a press cloth with some dampness to press it to each of these pieces. So I'm not going to demonstrate that. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is fuse the interfacing to all the pieces that it's called for, and then we'll get to sewing. Stay tuned. Okay, I have all my fusing done, and that was a wonderful steam bath in this heat. But as requested, I'm going to show you how I thread my sewing machine. So I have a Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2. It went to sleep, it took me so long. So up here is where the thread goes, and it does have a hook up high that you place it through first. It then goes behind this, down this way, up this way, and then my machine has an automatic needle threader, which is wonderful. So all I have to do is hook the thread here and hit the thread needle button, and it threads for me. If it didn't, then you would thread your needle. I don't need that much thread. For the bobbin, most bobbins have both a right side and a wrong side. So there's an H for Husqvarna on the right side. So you simply pop the bobbin in, it hooks in 3 places. Hold your top thread, turn the hand wheel, and it should pull up the bobbin thread perfectly. And I cut it by accident. I want to do that one more time here. So drop your bobbin in, hook it all 3 places, turn the hand wheel, it will pull up a loop of bobbin thread, and there you have it. Simple as that. All right, so let's get to sewing here. So the very first step in the directions after you've fused everything is that we're going to take one of those egg pocket panels, and this is on page 2, fold it in half with the, the long sides together, not this way, and then sew along at only a 1/4 inch seam allowance. This is really important. Once you've done that, you're going to turn it right side out with the seam along the top. You're going to turn the tube, in other words. Press it well with the seam along the top, and then we'll start marking where the pleats are. So I am going to do those steps to both of my egg pocket panels, and then we'll talk about the markings because this part is a little bit confusing. Stay tuned. So we have our 2 egg pockets sewn, turned, and pressed. And now comes time to make our marks because we're actually going to be doing some pleating to make the pockets. So following the directions I will share with you, it will tell you what markings to make depending on your size. So for size medium, you want to make a mark at 5. Okay, we'll just use my other hand. Sometimes you gotta do that. 5 inches. And, or 6. Okay. And by the way, these pens are erasable when you press them. So here's the 6-inch mark. It will just disappear. So it's 6 inches. We'll put an X on that one. Then measure 2 inches more and mark. Then 3 inches. Then 2 inches. And so on until you reach the end and you have the same amount of distance that you started with over here, which in our case was 6 inches. So just finish this one up. and show you what it will look like. Looks like it is nice. Okay, why is that not coming out? 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, and there's 6 inches left. Okay, so you're going to have a piece, and I don't know how well y'all can see these white marks, that looks like this. So the next step says, starting at the first mark, fold the egg pocket panel so that the fold is along the mark and press to make a crease that goes from the top seam to the bottom edge. And then it says continue on. Problem is, as soon as I hit this, so we're gonna make creases, creases, creases. So let me do that, and then I will bring you back to show you what it looks like rather than to worry about the marks disappearing. Welcome back to day 2, y'all. It is actually, I'm in the craft room, which is the hottest room of the house, faces west. It's always been the hottest room of the house, which is really great for winter, but really miserable for summer. I'm hoping that the background noise of a floor fan plus the ceiling fan, I found out if you run it on high, it doesn't go right. So I'm hoping the quality of this video will come out well. If not, I am going to do a voiceover. So the 2 egg pocket panels that we were in the midst of yesterday, I have a steam row into iron that's like professional grade. It puts off a ton of heat, and I just got so hot I couldn't stand it anymore. And I was frustrated. So let me show you what I ended up with. And I'm going to tell you, this is definitely the fussiest part. So what you're going to end up with is one, let me do it this way. So here's the end of the pocket. You're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 egg pockets. In the back, you simply flatten where you are placing your folds. Now, I did it the way they said on the first panel, and I'm like, boy howdy, there's a way easier way to do it. So what I would suggest is just do what works for you, as long as you end up with 4 pockets of equal size. So along with your pattern, you will get this guide that you can trace. You find an easy way to show you. So basically what you're going to end up doing is you are going to stitch this around so that the little overlaps are sewn down. So it's going to catch it in the seam here, and it's going to firm it up so that your egg isn't going to fall out the bottom, number 1, and it's not going to slide sideways, number 2. So I do have these 2 completed. So what is our next step? Well, according to the directions, we're on number 3, and you're going to take your main panel, which is the color that will be the main body, and you're going to mark the placement of where you're going to put these 2 egg panels. Now, I apologize again for the quality here. Mine, the gray striped area, should not be striped, is where I can actually lay this and mark it and then pin those in place. And what we're going to do, it says for the adult version, one should be 2.5 inches up from the bottom edge and another 8.75 inches up from the bottom edge. So I'm going to lay this out on my cutting mat so that I can use the markings. I'm going to lay this, do some marking, and I'll actually pin those in place. I'll bring you back at that time and we'll get to sewing. I'm so tired of ironing. So I highly recommend, if you have a gridded board, to use it. So what I've done here is I've placed the bottom egg pocket panel 2 1/2 inches, 1, 2.5 up from the bottom raw edge. So you want to have that lined up. So immediately I'm like, oh no, I've done something wrong. So I have 1.5 inches exactly on either end. If you go to the next page, what it says is pin an egg pocket panel to the right side, matching the bottom edge to the bottom placement line. And you definitely want the bottom to be the side that isn't seamed. So the seam is at the top, the fold over edge is at the bottom. With the pleats centered on the main panel, trim the ends of the pocket panel to match the raw edges of the main panel. Hello, why didn't you tell me it was too long? Pin the pleats in place along the bottom edge so they don't shift while you sew. So I'm going to go ahead and place these two. I'm going to bring you back when we have those done. I just wanted to point that out so you don't freak out. So we have both of our egg pocket panels stitched into place. I've cut out the pocket stitching guide, and I have traced around each of the 8 pockets using a white heat erasable marking pen. And we're going to take over to the sewing machine, and we're going to start here at the edge. We are going to sew about 1/8 of an inch from the edge till we get to the first white U, go up 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and so on until we've completed both. I'll bring you back to show you what that looks like. Another idea, I would make sure that you have this well pinned, because again, the top is not secured, obviously, and you don't want those pleats opening up. So I will bring you back soon. Well, if you ever been working on a project and you're just like, wait a minute, that looks small to me. So, this is Marigold's eggs. This is Violet's eggs. Violet's my smallest layer. Yeah. There is no way that Violet's big ol' egg, Marigold's big ol' egg is gonna get in there. So, in spite of all the marking I've done, thankfully I've only sewn 2 pockets. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, I'm going to remove these 2, and I am going to make my pockets, instead of rounded like this, which sounds super cool, I'm going to just stitch a square and make the pocket bigger, because look good. Yeah, like I will crush eggs if I do that. So if you girls lay normal size eggs, and I would say this is only equivalent to maybe a large, that's probably a medium egg, so my girls aren't laying humongous eggs. This is, to me, a design flaw. I'm not going to worry about the white marking. I can ignore that and it will simply iron off. So let me get out the dreaded seam ripper. We'll take out what we've done. I will at least do 2 pockets square, and we'll double check. Stay tuned. All right, success. So I simply removed the stitching, went right along these edge lines here in an ouch perfect square, and Violet's tiny egg fit in no problem, and Marigold's large egg fit in. So I am going to continue sewing. I'm going to finish all this, take the pins out, press it so the white lines are gone, and then I will show you where we are. We will be ready to sew the lining of the apron to the body. Stay tuned. Y'all, time for me to eat some humble pie. So, I have sewn the front and back together. I've turned it. Isn't it adorable? 8 egg pockets. But the whole time I'm sewing, I'm thinking, why did I make all those fussy pleats? Seems to me that should be what allows the pocket to expand. Well, if you look, and please excuse my scribbles, there are 5 pockets. So you actually center the egg pocket over the pleat, which will allow it to expand. My bad. Does this still work? It absolutely does. I am quite impressed with the weight of the apron. It's very sturdy. Thankfully, I caught the fact the pocket was too small and, you know, adapted the way I sewed it. So this is how you make an 8 pocket apron. The directions are actually for the 10 pocket correct version. All right, on to the next. So when all else fails, read the directions, right? Okay. So now we have only 2 pieces left. Hallelujah, right? So we are going to sew the tie straps right sides together at a 90-degree angle like this, so that it will be one long continuous piece. I'm going to do that, figure out what next steps are. I'll bring you back for the shout. Stay tuned. Okay, tie strap completed. Very simple folding method, so you end up with a 1-inch wide folding and pressing strip. What you want to do is mark the very center of the tie. Mark the very center. Let me adjust here a little bit. There we go. Of your apron. Now we're going to slide the apron inside the tie strap and line up the middles. We'll simply pin it in place, making sure that the waistband is completely against the top of the apron that we've sewn. So I'm going to put quite a few pins in just to ensure. And then we will be sewing around all 4 edges of the tie strap to firm it up. I'm going to do that. I'll bring you back at the very end to model the apron. We'll see if our girls have laid any eggs today. It's a little early, so we'll see what we get, but we can at least try it on, and I think it's going to be lovely, even though I made a major mistake and it actually still works. So stay tuned. All right, so what would I do differently? And I'm going to show you the apron here in just a minute. Well, I would follow the directions and have the pockets be larger so I could put my cell phone in it, etc. I was going to try to collect eggs, but I'm going to have to get back further. Miss Fancy Ray, she is in the laying box, moaning away. So, here you have it. What do you think? It looks like I'm wearing a mini skirt. I love the thickness, the sturdiness. One thing I might do a little differently is make the waistband a little wider. You could certainly do that quite easily, just, thicker. Might make the tie a little bit longer, just because the tie is the same size no matter which size apron you're making, and I like a big foofy bow, especially if I have on a lot of clothes. Okay, Jolie. They're wanting treats already, and God bless them, it is very, very hot. So I hope you've enjoyed today's apron making adventure. I'll give you a final little peek here. Really did turn out quite adorable with the eggs and the roosters. And even though it was a little bit fussy on the pleats, if I would have done it correctly, it might have been a little bit easier, but I hope you will give this pattern a try. Again, I will leave a link in the description box below to the website where you can download the pattern. And let's see, today I think will be Saturday when you'll be seeing this video. It's only Wednesday here, so a couple more days of this heat wave. I hope you all are staying cool, and don't forget to be well hydrated. And until I see you again, oh, don't forget to smash that like button. Drop me a comment. I can try to make an egg apron. Be well, be healthy, be blessed. Take care, and I'll see you very soon.